J360 TV.
J360 Radio.
Hello, J360 Legion, and welcome to the J360 MiniBytes here on J360 Radio, hosted by J.M. Brady. I am your host, J.M. Brady. Let's get into it. Hey, how's it going, J360 Legion? What is happening? Yes, welcome back to the J360 MiniBytes here for episode 259. I am your host, J-Man, of course, and can you just hear those sleigh bells ringing? Well, let me just tell you this. Something ought to. I mean, I'm paying the hell out of a lot here for these gifts. At least that's what I like to think, anyway. I just got to make sure I see, like, which ones are for me and which ones are not for me, I would say. You know, not to mention, but I got to tell you this, though. You know how, like, during this time of the year, they always talk about the gift that keeps on giving? Well, you know what? I finally got it from my college, y'all, because you know what? Ha! The semester is over! Woo! I am free. I have done it. I managed to get that final assignment in on time. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Let me just say this. It feels so good to be so free at this moment in time. Like, you know, I'm not even concerned about what's going on in real life right now. I am just on an all-time high because you got to realize this. I was in the trench, y'all. I mean, I'm sure some of y'all probably noticed. I mean, what with the way, like, you know, some shows took place and then some shows didn't take place, and something's got to give, especially when you're going for, like, higher marks nowadays. And man, I tell you, I was. And right now, to know that I only have, like, you know, pretty much 2 more semesters to go, I'll take it. Shoot, I am right where I need to be, man. You know what I mean? That's why you don't really skim on your education. You make sure you follow through on that stuff, and you make sure, like, you know exactly what you're going for, what you're trying to do. Just so that, you know, like, as you work on giving yourself a lift up and things, make sure it's very marketable, make sure it works with you. Because I was like, well, you know, with the way things are going and the fact that I'm here, I might as well level myself up. So that's what I did. And as I'm doing that right now, I've had some great teachers in the beginning, and I've had some wild teachers with this one. You know, but whatever. Let's just go ahead and get this thing. Who knows? Maybe a doctorate would be next. Hey, maybe. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. But also, I know I can't rest yet. Not yet. Because I still have some things I got to go ahead and pay it forward to you all. I know that there is still a few things that need to be taken care of. So that's why, you know, we can't even use the alt schedule this week. So we're going to have to use things a little bit differently. So let us use the weekend rush schedule to take care of a few things. So that being said, of course, you have the MiniBytes happening right now. And then you have the Hall of Fame J360 Jams TV celebration, or J360 Jams TV 14, whichever you'd like to call it. But we're going to go ahead and celebrate 10 of the first people who made, well, I should say first entrees, who made it into the J360 Jams Hall of Fame established during last Jamiversary. And let me tell you this, these 10 people are amazing. Some of you may know of from the recent episodes of J360 Jams, and some of them you may have to get reintroduced to. And if reintroductions are in order, well, I'm happy to oblige, because this episode is going to be amazing. And I wanted to go ahead and give back to them too, you know? Especially since, you know, we did do an episode like that for the Jamiversary, but let me just say this, though. I figured, you know, one's not enough. So let's just go on ahead and do what we got to do. Make them celebrations in order, because it will be June again before you know it. And then we got to go ahead and make room for the second group that will enter in the Hall of Fame. It'll be pretty cool, y'all. Speaking of which, though, about J360 Jams, J360 Jams 128 is now open for submissions. Of course, it's been open for submissions, but I'm reminding you all this again because we're in the holiday season. I'm sure you all are still trying to rush out there, get your Switch 2s, your gaming PCs, or whatever, you know, the kids be hollering about or you be hollering about in your sleep. You know how, like, some of y'all are. I'm not here to throw stones. I mean, you know, it happens, especially like when, you know, all these crazy deals have went through here. And yeah, I know we were going to talk about boycotting on the J-Man show, and we still are, but let me just say this, though. you know, regardless of what's going on, them deals were wild, man. Like, they were just like, whew, almost got my black eye. You know what I mean? So I'm just sitting right there thinking, yeah, yep. Don't worry, you ain't fool me, but you was close. You was close. Other than that, though, since this is a rough time for people, well, it's been a rough year anyway, but let me just say this. Show your appreciation to your fellow people out there by helping them out, okay? You know what I mean? Help them get a good meal. Help them get somewhere where they can get some help and some treatment. Now, they do have to follow through on the help and treatment on their own a little bit, but, you know, it's always good to help give people a push and get them where they need to be at. And among other things, don't expect anything in return. You know what I'm saying? Just do it because it's a good thing to do. And to also do things because, you know, you want things to be at less harm anyway. You know what I'm saying? Not to the point where it'll hurt them or anything, because there's too much stuff going on in the world. Again, and even more so because of the powers that be. But let me just tell you this, though. We got power ourselves, and the power is in community. So you know what I mean? Make your community grow. Make your community mean something. And as I go about saying this stuff, you know what I mean? Utilize the technology for something good rather than something, you know, obnoxious. And speaking of obnoxious things around here, I noticed that didn't Disney just make a deal with OpenAI? You know, whenever I say burn in hell Altman, I usually mean it. And the idea is that I don't know why they are double downing on stuff that really in the long run isn't doing us any favors. You know what I'm saying? Like, an AI can't vote for you. An AI can't do like anything outside of what you tell it to do. And then not only that, you got what are we, lazy? Are we just trying to just cheapen the deal every time we do this stuff? You know, it's just weird to me. And then of course, like, Disney is sending over its characters to OpenAI, so it's like, what? Like what? Tell me something. What are shapes? What are arrangement of shapes? What are drawing? You know what I mean? Like, go grab a pencil and some paper and sit to the side and just practice that. It's not gonna hurt you. I mean, if you spend, like, let's just say this, if you spend a few seconds a day, guess what? That's a few seconds where you're not a novice anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We've gotten really off track when it comes to this instant gratification stuff. And, you know, you see it all the time. Like, there are people out there, hey, I can type in a prompt. Look at me go. And, yeah, they can. But then comes the idea of what happens when you don't have access to that no more? Or what happens when you are left to your own devices? Because that does happen from time to time. You know, are you able to pick up a pencil and draw? Are you able to go ahead and design your own games and stuff with just you and a number 2 pencil? Let me remind you all of something, right? They might be trying to phase out the old ways. They might be trying to get rid of physical media. They might be trying to do all this other crap that you see from a lot of people online that's talking about the end is nigh. But let me just tell you this, right? What if you shut all that stuff out and just actually develop skills? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, sure, it might not get a lot of TV time, might not be talked about a lot of times and stuff, but did you know that Jack Kirby actually made the whole Marvel universe and a bunch of other comic universes with just his thoughts and a number 2 pencil and an afternoon? Like, that still exists. Some people can still world build like that. And then you got people out here that will not even take the time to do such. That is a very sad, hollow existence, if I've ever seen one. And we're too busy worried about whether people will like our work or not, right? Whether people will be receptive to it and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the algorithm did that shit. Let's just be honest. And even as I see this stuff now, you know, you look at it from here to there, and you're wondering this. Can things get better from here? Yeah. But it's going to have a fallout somewhere. And it's just getting weird with this stuff. And I keep saying this all the time. Even as, like, when people try to say, what do you want to go to college for? Because I want to. And I don't need your permission to do such. Or, you know what? Same reason why building the company and everything else. Because I want to. The way mainstream media is looking, these people need competition. If you think about it, with all this stuff going on, especially, yes, I was going to get to the point about Warner Brothers and It's just like Warner Brothers getting in bed with everybody, man. Who knows anymore? But the idea is, you know, a lot of y'all were upset about Netflix, but you didn't think about the Saudi Arabian government running around here trying to buy a lot of American properties without actually being American, right? I mean, you're not thinking about like the evils of private equity, are you? Like nobody really talks about these things, but they always talk about, oh, Netflix bad. We don't want Netflix to have that. Neither company looks good, man. You know, personally, I was sitting there wondering what the hell Comcast was doing. They didn't make a move for it. It was like, oh, shoot, we're going to take our ass home. Huh? That's it. We're going to take our ass home. And then you got the Ellison family over there, especially like, you know, Ellison and his dad. Of course, Ellison's the one that's in charge of Skydance, who bought Paramount, and nobody liked that idea, but it happened. And then all of a sudden, now everybody want to talk Sherman Antitrust Act. I always say this. Where were you all at with this selective outrage when Xbox did their big power moves and stuff? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like all this stuff going on around here, and a lot of y'all be sitting there saying, well, you know, that's a different deal. The hell it is. It's pretty much the same damn deal. I've noticed this ever since we, you know, had old boy back in office. It's been nothing but merger this, take over this, no real competition, and of course, you know, just making things harder for the common people to work. Or live, I should say. There's been a whole lot of stuff on that, but we'll dive into that for the J-Man show. But as I really think about it from time to time, the cultural landscape looks like hell right now. You know? And yeah, you can see I'm starting to come back to it. But hearing these year-end thoughts, though, I gotta say, you know, for next year, I really can't wait to go ahead and just, you know, show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. It's better to show you than to tell you. And while we're on the subject here, I just hope that we can, you know, try to build a better world from this, because this whole thing in front of me just looks like I can just see the cracks in it. You know what I mean? Not like a drawn out crack. I could just see it like how like ice would crackle. You know what I'm saying? And it just, now I wouldn't have that sound effect, but you know, it just goes to a thin hair and just splits apart. It's wild to me. I mean, the only thing that I was concerned about in that merger, though, is whether the Warner Archive would still be active or not, because, I mean, that's good for a lot of people who do collect those films and aren't beholding to any of these streaming networks, which is another thing that I told you guys a long time ago. It's like, if you could get this movie on Blu-ray or, you know, DVD, whatever sort of physical media you could have, go for it. You know what I mean? Like, break the trend a little bit. But hey, like I said, that's more stuff for the J-Man show. And anyway, I got to get ready for J360 Jams TV 14, which will be on youtube.com/J360 Productions tomorrow at 12 noon, okay? And then the J-Man show is happening on Sunday at 8 o'clock p.m. And I know that's football time and all, and I'm making up for lost time here because I really want you guys to have another J-Man episode. So, we're going to have ourselves a fun weekend, I'd like to say. But until then, though, I want you guys to take care of yourselves. This is J-Man